All right, صباح الخير, good morning everyone, and welcome to my session. My name is Dib Atallah. I'm an education consultant with Education Development Trust. Today's session is a very hands-on session because it's not about any kind of training. It's not a training session or how do you do a training session. It is a certain process or a certain cycle that you can implement in your department or in your schools. And I've tried it for 2 years myself as a head of department, and it was very, very successful. So what you will see in front of you is something that we've tried. It was very successful. We saw the impact, and I'm sharing it with you. It's not my initial idea. It's something I took, the idea itself I took from someone that was talking about it, but I was the one who implemented and created the forms and the documents and the process for it. Okay? We wrote the limitations and the challenges over there, and we wrote what do you look for in a good professional training cycle. Why? Because after this session, when we're going to finish, like before 5 minutes of doing the closure, I'm going to go over this, and I hope that my session would have answered some of your, if you want, challenges or limitations and gave you some good solutions. Okay? We're fine? هلا في بعد في شوي بيمشي الحال شوي. Yes, still in the morning. Yes, exactly. So this workshop focuses on the importance of developing an internal, it's internal, we're not bringing people from outside, and ongoing, so it's not a one-shot time per year or 2 shots, it's ongoing, it's monthly, that's why it's called monthly focus, professional development cycle by empowering talented educators. So you have the expert teachers and the new teachers, everyone has a role in it. Within the department and experimenting the best practices. So the best practices in your department, in your school, will be shared and will be talked about, will be discussed, and will be copied from one teacher to another. Participants will leave the session having designed a new self-sustaining and low-cost professional development cycle. Because you can do it in your department, you can do it in your school, it won't cost you money because it's all internal, and it all comes from teachers to teachers, from educators to educators. Your main role, if you want to start this cycle, is to prepare for it, implement, and motivate your team to actually keep on doing it from 1 month to another. What kind of mindset do you have? I'm sure you heard a lot about it. The fixed mindset or the growth mindset. Right? Have you ever heard about the growth mindset? Good. We need an icebreaker. It's too, right? Okay. So I'm going to give you this. With small phrases. Here. Some of them you should stick on the growth mindset. The others you should glue on the fixed mindset. All right? It's a group work, so we just break the ice. We feel more comfortable with each other, and then we move forward. So this is one group here. All right. So what kind of mindset do you have? I can learn anything I want. When I'm frustrated, I persevere. I don't stop. To challenge myself. When I fail, I learn. Tell me I tried hard. If you succeed, I'm inspired. My effort and attitude determine everything. It can be translated or it can be explained like, tell me I can do it. Or I try hard. No, خلاص, you tried hard. It can be, yes, it depends because it's a tricky one. It can be understood from different angles if you want. So definitely when we want to think of a training cycle and implementing a new training cycle, we need to think with a growth mindset. These are examples of thinking. I'm sure that most of you have seen such information or such lists with the growth mindset. So for example, instead of I'm not good at this, what am I missing? I give up, I use different strategies. So this is very, very important when you want to introduce the monthly focus process, and now we're going to start talking about it. It's very, very important that you go in with a growth mindset, and you discuss with your team and with your teachers, or if you are a school principal, with the educators, that this is the mindset we are going to be using when we're going to implement the monthly focus approach. Deal? Okay, stages of a professional development cycle. Evaluate. So the first thing you do before you start doing a training, if I want to implement a training in my department or in my school, I can say, okay, well, you know what? This year we're going to be training on differentiation because I heard someone talking about it and it looks nice. Of course not. We're going to talk how do we do the evaluation. So we evaluate our school or our team, the needs. We're going to talk about them. So we know the needs, we evaluate. Then we reflect. What do we need to focus on by priority? What's the action plan that I'm going to do for a whole year? Because it's not a one-shot thing. How am I going to deliver? And definitely I need to measure the impact. Because if I don't measure the impact, it's nonsense. I can bring someone from the United States, give the best training ever, and this person can leave, and after a few weeks, nothing is done. So it's very important to keep this cycle in mind, especially when we are implementing the monthly focus process. So when we say training needs analysis in business, in any business, big corporate businesses or organizations, they always do a training needs analysis. They call it TNA. You have to do the same thing in your department and in your school. So before you decide what training should be given, you need to do a good training needs analysis. I'll give you 2 minutes, work together. What do you think are the things we need to consider when we are doing our training needs analysis in a school? So when I want to think, what are the needs, training needs analysis in my school or in my department, what are the components or the things I need to consider, take into consideration to do a good professional training needs analysis? Is it clear? How do you decide what training you want to give in your department or school? Based on what? Based on a conversation with a school principal, based on a report, based on you heard about something new and you would like to implement it? All right. I'm going to share with you the list I have. And you look at your list, and if you have missing points, you can just write them down. If you would like to have the PowerPoint now, we'll pass around the paper. You can write your email, and I can share with you the PowerPoint. So, reports, accreditations, inspections from the board. The first thing you start with, these reports. What do they tell you? They give you something. They tell you the areas of development and the strengths. So if you have strengths in one department or in one cycle, you can take people from here to help other cycles. If I know that in the primary they are so good with group work and engaging and interactive learning, so I start taking teachers, talented teachers, skilled teachers from this cycle and using them in the other cycle. Reports. Self-evaluation. I think now most of the schools, they do self-evaluation process. So before you put your strategic plan for 5 years or for 2 years, you have to do a self-evaluation. Where are we? How are we doing? Where's the teaching? Where's the learning? And usually it's a very long process. So you self-evaluate yourself as a school or as a department. Meetings. From the minutes of meeting, if in the meetings If you are a head of department or you are a principal, people are mentioning some areas of development or some strengths or some needs, these should be written down somewhere. Again, the meeting is not just meet and talk and that's it. Few actions. Surveys, you can send surveys to teachers, educators, head of departments. What do you think are our areas of strengths? What do you think are our areas of development? The parents, they are indirectly, yes, yes, definitely, why not? Students, especially the high school, they know their needs more than anyone else. And they can give you feedback on teachers more than anyone else. The vision and mission, many of you talked about it. Because even if you're going to put your trainings cycle, you need to keep in mind that you have a certain vision and mission in your school that you need to achieve.
Especially if we're adopting a new system like the IB system, or if we're adopting a new system, we need to focus on certain.
Exactly. Exactly. And if this is one of the areas that most schools fall into it, that they forget about the vision and mission. It remains, on the walls. That's our vision. We all memorize it. It looks good, right? But the vision and the mission is something that should be alive, that should be used on daily basis, should be used in our training. We should train people to have these vision and mission embedded within their characters. Because if the teachers, they don't model the vision and mission, then your school is not actually really working on the vision and mission. It remains a quote on the wall. Classroom observations. This is we call it in Arabic السمنة. Huh? Yes, what's happening inside the classrooms. You can do data analysis on the classroom observations. If you put them on Excel sheets or whatever tool you use, you can get everything from there. What's happening? What are the areas of development? What are the needs? What should we work on? What should we focus on? And your school improvement plan. Definitely when you do a self-evaluation and when you have your reports, a school improvement plan or a school plan is the short term one for a year or two, and you have the long strategic one for 5 years. So you need to be very focused. Putting a training in place isn't just like, I feel like, everyone is talking about growth mindset. Let's give them a training on growth mindset. It looks shiny these days. It's the key word now. Yes, it's the trend. It's the trend. So it's very important to keep focused on your training needs in your department and in your school. Very, very, very quickly, again, same group, because I'm going to walk you through the process. Write down some ideas of what do you think your school, what type of training you might need. After thinking of these very quickly, I'm sure most of you know, you are aware of the main needs and the main areas of development, the main strengths. Very quickly, write down like 4 or 5 topics you think are good topics to put in your training cycle for the coming year. All right? So 1 minute, just write them down. 5 topics, 5 training topics you think your school needs or your department needs. All right. Now remember, what we're doing now is just like a very small sample, because this, like the evaluation part, needs a lot of time. And now what we're doing is just going through the process. It should be with your team, you all discuss, you all talk about it, all right? So the next thing we do, after we decide what are the training sessions we need, we prioritize. We prioritize. What should I start with? Because every month in this continuous professional development cycle, which we call the monthly focus, every month we're going to focus on one topic. And we're going to dig deep in it. Every week we're going to work on it. The teachers are going to work on it. So now I'm going to give you these papers. You have 5 topics, right? So you need, as a head of department or a school principal, to decide every month what's the topic I'm going to be focusing on. We're going to be focusing on. based on your priorities. So you have 5 topics, put them on the monthly focus. Oh, you're working. I thought you were working together. So every month, as per your priority, as per your need, which topic you're going to be focusing on. Yeah, this doesn't mean that you cannot talk or train or do anything with the topic later on during the year. But it means that in this month, I'm going to focus on differentiation. Because now you're going to see a process. In the weekly meetings, every week they have to discuss it and talk about it and implement strategies and get feedback. So it's a focused from teacher to teacher training. Yes. And the teachers will follow up on each other based on certain forms on a weekly basis in their weekly meetings on how they are implementing the strategies. And you as a head of department or you as a school principal, you are getting forms, okay, reports on how is it going, what works, what doesn't work, and it's all about strategies. So it's not about theory. So write down. Oh, no, nothing. I couldn't remove them. Like, oh, it's stuck there. What would you give in September, October? Yeah, it's up to you. Just. If you no, you know that we start 1 year ahead, huh? Yes. You wouldn't do training needs analysis in September, like, hey, what's going on? Yeah, exactly. All right. So, once we decide what will be our monthly focus, once we decide on the topics that we will focus on every month, then we go to the action. Because if I send an email as a head of department or I send an email as a school principal, hey, in September we're focusing on differentiation. Do you think the teachers will implement anything related to differentiation? No, you have to be walking them through the process step by step. And you have to get feedback step by step. So, now, this is a fake one, okay? Just try 2 topics, for example, and so these documents should be you can keep it if you want, it's fine. These documents should be communicated with the teachers. The head of departments with because the teachers are involved in the process, right? They will be delivering. You can deliver as the head of department, but mainly we are trying to empower the internal talents. So if in September I wrote, what's your monthly focus for September? Instructional leadership. I need to put an approximate of duration, date, who's the audience, who's attending, source, is it internal, external, who's gonna, or the content of the information, from where I'm getting the content, and the trainer, or something we call, and this is very interesting, SME. Do you know what's an SME? Subject matter expert. If I know I have a very good physics teacher, he's very good in teaching physics, I can work on this person to make him a subject matter expert. Like a trainer, internal trainer. Why should I get and pay people from outside if I have good subject matter experts in my school? Why pay all the money and go through the whole process of getting someone if I have the people inside? And we all know in our departments and in our schools, we have a lot of SMEs. And what can you do? You can train the SMEs to be good trainers. You can give them a train the trainer, and they can become professional trainers. All right? Once you put the plan with the duration, the date, the audience, then you have a clear monthly focus plan for the whole year. All the teachers know in your department or in your school what's going to happen. And you would share with them why did you choose these topics based on the TNA, training needs analysis. And when you start choosing the SMEs, they will feel motivated because teachers, exactly. If someone is good in something, I'm telling them, you're so good in it, we need your help, we want to make you a subject matter expert. Yes, yes, exactly. So this is the action plan that you put in front of you to start implementing. Next. The monthly focus stages. So we did our training needs analysis. We reflected on it. We chose the topics. We put them by priority every month. And then we put a plan who's going to be delivering, the duration, the audience, and so on. Now, what happens every month? How do we do it? Every monthly focus, every month, it starts with a training session or it starts with a meeting. And usually, it takes place during the monthly meeting, the weekly meeting. Most teachers, they meet on a weekly basis. Right? Yeah. So it starts in a simple weekly meeting. If I'm, like for example, in the KG department, I was head of KG when I implemented this. Every week, the teachers met. But every first meeting of the month, we took 30 to 40 minutes to introduce the topic. So if it is instructional leadership, we introduce it. And it's only 30 to 40 minutes because we focus mainly on strategies. So we don't really talk about the theory. Rather, we focus on presenting the theory in general and what can we do in the class. Methodologies, strategies, implementation, pure implementation. So in this training session, this happens, and the person who's delivering, your trainer or your SME, it can be anyone who's really good in this topic. It can be anyone from the cycle or from another cycle from your school. This person delivers a short training focusing on strategies that can be implemented. Important points to keep in mind in this meeting, the first meeting at the beginning of the month. You can definitely focus on a subject matter expert. It's better than the head of department always delivering. Because when you empower the teachers, they become motivated, they enjoy it, it's a learning experience for them, and you can give them certificate by the end of the year that they actually started delivering, and they are subject matter experts. So this is another professional development for their own career and their own CVs if they would like to apply later on to someone else. Reflect on existing reality and challenges. As I said, we don't only talk about the theories, we talk and we discuss things that we can implement in our classes. Many times we go to trainings, they show us videos from a country or from, and you have like 10 students in a grade 1 class and everything's fine and the teacher is implementing group work. And you see the teachers like, we have 30, we have a small class. It's not realistic. It's not. So that's why it's very important that when an SME or someone internally is delivering the training, exactly, it's real. He knows or she knows the challenges, the limitations, and so on. Hands-on approach, as again, things I can, when I leave the training, I can just go to my class and start trying with a growth mindset. And you make it very clear that It might not work from the first time, it might not work from the second time, it might need some time, but that's why we're trying to implement. Can be implemented the next day, focused, beneficial strategies and methods, good balance between theory and implementation, so positive and motivational, and this is very, very important. And you can give, because it's only 30 to 45 minutes, you can give extra readings, links to videos if they want to know more about the topic, or extra articles that they can actually use. And better, for example, if I want to introduce questioning, okay, I can myself as an SME prepare thinking keys. I'm not sure if you know about them. Like it's one thing you can use in questioning, thinking keys, and I give them the thinking keys. So I'm giving them something already. Just go and try it. Don't even think, don't go and look for it. Don't waste your time printing it. Here you go. Go and try it. You had a question?
What you're saying, of course, it doesn't have to be for the whole school, right? So we can implement something, or we can, for only the elementary cycle? Or
Yes.
somebody in the secondary giving it
It's up to you. It's up to you. In our school, what we did is that the monthly focus was a whole school thing because we printed posters, we sent emails to motivate everyone. So we made a campaign, but the delivery was per cycle because the needs, for example, differentiation and so it's up to you. It's up to you to decide. You can, better and more beneficial by cycle. Like by the whole cycle, everyone this month will be talking about differentiation. You see posters and papers and articles everywhere in this cycle. Yes. Maybe the topic can be a whole thing. ممكن 2 months, you can choose 2 months where it's a whole school thing. And you send people from one cycle to another. So it depends on how you put them on the monthly focus. That's why it's a team decision. It's not a one-person decision. And you can do a lot of campaigns. And even when they used to go to the restrooms, to look in the mirror. So if it's differentiation, they can find quotes. When they go to the teacher staff room, the board in the teacher staff room is about differentiation and strategies. So they see it everywhere. It's a monthly focus. We send them articles, we send them videos, we send them ideas. So we keep it alive for a whole month. Reminders in staff room and classrooms and etc. So strategies meeting 1. After you do this training or this meeting, okay, like either in the same week or the next week in the weekly meeting, there's something that we created which was called monthly focus track sheet. Definitely this is what we used. You can use anything you want. You can create your own template. But you can see that once we talked about the topic and we gave a training, they have, as a team, to sit down together for like 10-15 minutes and decide, as per their needs, what are the strategies that they will use or they will try every week. As a head of department, I would get this from the lead teacher. So I would know that this week they are trying these strategies. Second week, these strategies. Everyone is trying these strategies. As a head of department, I used to go into the classrooms and check. And if I see someone actually trying one strategy, I would send it on the WhatsApp call group and say, oh, look, Miss Danya is trying it. It looks really good. So this is the motivation. This is the follow-up. And from week to week, after they try the strategies, and they should be very small things. You don't want a teacher to transform. The teacher cannot transform in a day or two or a month. So you give very small strategies, very small things. If you want them to be better in questioning, tell them to prepare in the strategy 3 open questions for the whole week. That's it. That's it. If she can do that, wonderful. Okay? So be realistic. And something, of course, applicable, real, and can be achieved. Every time they meet, they go back to the strategies and they give feedback to each other. So this is where the development is taking place. So if we are in this team and we, for the whole week, try different strategies, in the next meeting, the first thing we do is, how did it go? Ah, you tried it. Ah, it didn't work because maybe you should try. So this is the real learning. This is the real training. It's sharing what worked, what didn't work, and documenting it by feedback. And by the end of the month, I gave them, to wrap up the monthly focus, I gave them something called monthly focus panel. They do a 30 minutes discussion meeting, and they decide what worked and what didn't work. And I had KG1 and KG2. Because some things might work in KG1 that might not work in KG2. And again, this is only a template. You can create your own template. But the most important thing is the follow-up. Yes. Yes, as a head of department, you are following up on a weekly basis. You can go into the meeting and be part of it. Yes.
Usually go with the process and the rationale behind how do you do things and why do you need to document this now and how do you look at these documents, or you just...
No, definitely you communicate everything from the beginning, you share everything from the beginning. In the first meeting or two, you can be there to help and motivate. But again, I told you from the beginning, you have to focus on a growth mindset. You have to have their buy-in. They have to believe in the power of this process, that we are working on you to develop as SMEs, as subject matter experts, and we are working together to develop on a weekly basis. Because they know they don't have time. Hello, we're going to check the challenges. We don't have time, there's not enough money, too much work. But by this, it's a weekly thing, in the weekly meeting. It's a small strategies that they are trying, discussing, and learning from each other. So that's why it's ongoing, continuous, and low cost, and it's focused. It's based on a big training needs analysis. So in reflection meeting 2, which is by the end of the month, they sit down for 30 minutes, and they take 30 minutes from the weekly meeting, and they sit and okay, what worked? What didn't work? What challenges did we face? What are the best practices? And it differs from one grade to another. And you would think in KG, oh, it works in KG. Some strategies might work in KG1 that might not work in KG2. So it's very important to make it very personalized, leveled per grade. Any questions till now? Is the cycle clear? The monthly focus. And of course, you have to have an open door policy as a head of department or as a school leader, that this is the topic. If anyone has questions, if someone feels uncomfortable, they can go and do peer observation. You can go in and model something, or you can send the SME to model something. So it's up to you how much you want to take it further and how much you want to limit it. How do I measure the impact? I need to know if it's working, not working. Okay, I have enough documents, and I can meet with the teachers and get their feedback. I can go and see what's happening in the class. But in general, if I want to see, this month we focused on differentiation. How do I know that they did implement some new strategies? Formative assessment. In what way would you do a formative assessment? To see for the students? Yeah. Okay, let me stop at the first point. Yes, you can check students' performance, but this is very tricky. Because it doesn't mean if the teacher is implementing a new strategy that it will directly impact the students' performance. It's very, you have a zillion factor. Excellent. So it's based on classroom observation. Perfect. Yes. So I can go in my walk-ins, 5-10 minutes walk-ins, classroom observation, and I check what's happening in the class. What else? Excellent. Conversation with teachers. What do you think? What happened? What worked? What didn't work? Reflection. Yes. I can do walk-ins as a head of department. As a principal, if I know that all my school this month are focusing on questioning, I should do walk-ins. I should go into the classes and see what's happening, 5-10 minutes, and give feedback. If I see a good practice, I have to highlight it because it motivates everyone. It's very important to communicate and highlight best practices and strengths, because this is how teachers get motivated. We know from our students in the classes. I give a grade 1 student a star, I make his day. The same with teachers. I used to go around with my WhatsApp group. If I see one thing, and take a picture, thank you, Miss Christina, it's a wonderful. And like in the next coming 2-3 weeks, I see some similar things as Christina's work. So it's up to you to have a growth mindset, to be motivational, to be inspirational, to move the wheel in the right path, in the right way. The track forms, because you are tracking. As a head of department, it is my responsibility to talk with the teachers and to get feedback on what's happening. And if I have a lead teacher, or if I'm a principal, it's my responsibility to sit with the head of department and check. Did they implement? Did the strategy work? Didn't work. So we cannot just leave it to, we did the training, whatever happens in the class, nothing will change. If you want real change, this is one of the best ways. We took the KG department, we were in a school in the UAE. The school rated C, unsatisfactory, with the ADIC inspection. All right? C, unsatisfactory. We had 16 KG classes. On the next cycle of inspection, we had 70% new teachers turnover. 70% of the 16 classes, they were new teachers. The inspection happened after 4 months from when we started. We took the department from a C, unsatisfactory, to an A, good. It's a huge thing, yes, because when you move from C to B, it takes months and years. Tell me about it. I've been through it. Yes, if you don't know about ADIC standards, they are really, really, really very high standards, very high. So training doesn't happen in a session. It doesn't happen in one shot. It doesn't happen in a room. It happens every week. Training survey, you can send a survey after 2 or 3 months and ask the teachers feedback. You can do a survey in the training. Yes? It could be, but it's very hard to, yeah. Yes. Feedback from teachers, classroom observations. I'm not sure about what tools they use, but you can do a lot of data analysis on the walk-ins and the classroom observations. And because you are focusing per month, you can actually track per month a certain topic. If in your classroom observation tools, you have critical thinking, and in the first classroom observation cycle, the critical thinking was very low, and then you did the monthly focus, okay, and hopefully it was a successful one, very well implemented, you should be able to track the progress scientifically from your classroom observation data analysis. Development logs and journals, and this is something we always advise the teachers, and when we talk about the monthly focus, we tell them it's for you, it's from you, and for you. They can keep a journal. What are the things I'm learning? What are the things I'm trying? What are the things I'm becoming good at? Students' progress results. The results, as Joe said, it's very hard to track them in exams, but they can be tracked in certain activities, activity sheet, or you go in and you see how they are interacting or how they are engaged. You can see the impact there. So when we used to go in and do the walk-ins and observe the teachers, if we were focusing on a certain topic, we were able as head of departments to see that the teachers are trying. Maybe not succeeding, but they are trying new strategies. With time, you will see it from 1 month to another, from one term to another, that wherever the teacher started, even if she didn't or he didn't succeed, started trying, for example, critical thinking activities, and it wasn't really good, after a few months with motivation and follow-up, this teacher will have very good progress. Because, you know, to acquire a habit or a skill, it needs months and years. So if you want to see change, change should be gradual, progress should be gradual, and you need to be supportive, and you need to do the follow-up. So to wrap it up, as we said, it all starts by a good evaluation, because when you do a good evaluation, whenever they are going to attend these trainings, or whenever they are going to implement the monthly focus, they will have the buy-in. They will believe you. They will trust you that your training needs analysis was done thoroughly, and it was well thought of, and it's strategic. It's for the whole year. And it was thought of with priorities. This doesn't mean you stop doing the training cycles that you do. You know, every term you do a training cycle. Right? You do you can still do that. This is something else. You reflect, you put your action plan, and these should be discussed, written, and well communicated with the head of departments and the teachers. You need their buy-in. With the growth mindset, the SME thing is very important. If you promote for an SME culture, the subject matter expert, and you invest in a trainer session, and you make these subject matter experts qualified trainers, you don't need anyone from outside. These people can give you way more than anyone coming from outside. It can be a subject or a skill. No. It can be a subject and it can be a skill. ممكن a physics teacher in grade 11, he's doing creativity or critical thinking in a wonderful way in his class. Everyone can learn from this teacher. He can become the subject matter expert in creativity and critical thinking. Or usually 21st century skills, they come together. If they are good in one skill, they are good in the other skills. So it can be content, and it can be competencies and skills. Exactly. And definitely you need to follow up on delivery. You need to be involved. You need to make sure that the wheel is moving. You are in charge of it. If you don't follow up, you don't ask, it will just fall apart after 1 month. This is a key thing. If you don't do that, everything will fall apart. Even as a school principal, you can ask the head of departments, okay, just send me your track sheets. Just send them a few words. Thank you, this looks good, this strategy sounds good. Simple follow-up, that I'm here, we're here, and it's moving forward. And definitely measuring impact, because when you measure the impact, you can see the success and the progress, and you can share the progress with the people or the teachers that are involved. And as I told you, if you see something, directly send to everyone, look, Muhammad is doing this looks great, wonderful. This is related to our monthly focus. Okay, so it's a whole school culture, or it's a whole department culture. And you can do the good propaganda for it, with posters, quotes, articles, print out for them. Like when we wanted them to use something, like really use it, because we didn't have time from one inspection to another, we would actually print out the tool, laminate it, and just give it to them, yes, not reading the tool itself. Like, okay, I want them to use thinking keys, the questions they think. I would print them, laminate them, give them to the teacher, and tell them, just try to use it, because they don't have time. They don't have time to think of development and progress and. Huh? The principal is a different level, but the head of department. Yes, exactly. Hello, Mariam, تبعي لنا. And please keep in mind with the growth mindset that teachers and development and progress takes time. If you have a plant in your house, you know how much time. Who likes gardening? بصير ننفخ له. بصير نحط لها مي يلا يلا يلا. It takes time to see things grow. And if you want to see change and you want to see development, you have to be really supportive, structured, strategic, and you have to do your follow-up. Help and support, guide and advise, motivate and empower, especially the expert teachers that are on resistance. Okay, by doing the SME, it helps a bit. Development takes time. Be firm and professional. If they didn't give you these, as the head of department, ask for it. If it's not happening, go to the meeting, make sure it's happening. Once they go into the cycle, after 1 month or 2 months, خلاص, they get used to it. It becomes part of them. Definitely at the beginning, it's a lot of work, you know, the resistance, which is very normal. If you find this, go in yourself and do it. Do it in 10 minutes. If they say it's taking 40 minutes, do it in 10 minutes, but do it. Whatever excuse they give them a solution, even if you are losing a bit of the quality. Let it roll the first few months. Once it rolls, it becomes a habit. And before I close the session, I just want to look at these. Can you just please turn around? So the most important factors for an effective and good training or professional development: strategic. This is strategic. It is based on a very good training needs analysis, and it is an annual plan. Relative, related to context, it's from and to teachers, and it's based on your training needs analysis inside your school, and the content is being delivered from people or educators from your school. It has to be practical, as I told you, theory, strategies. Theory, strategies. Not from someone that hasn't been in the classroom, SMEs, subject matter experts. Realistic, with follow-up sessions or mentoring, يعني track sheet on a weekly basis. So we have good follow-up, doable. I've done it for 2 years and it was amazing. At the beginning, I did suffer from resistance, but it will work on, and the teachers started enjoying becoming SMEs and delivering training themselves, because it's something beyond teaching. They are developing their training skills. Promote adult learning. It's definitely based on the training is based on content that is based on theory and implementation from the teacher that is actually with them. So they know what they need. Voice, I don't know what we mean by voice.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a trainer or an adult at your session, they are training adults, you're asking them to be the new TOT. So my voice, my needs should be available to have more ownership of what you are asking me to do later on. You're going to leave me for 1 month doing something. If I don't have a voice in it, I will not believe it, and I will not.
Exactly. And that's why the strategies are per week, and everyone has the chance to discuss what worked. Because sometimes you might think of a strategy that doesn't work. And it's good to have a voice to say, it worked, it didn't work. Maybe if you do that, it will work. Hands-on, evidence-based. The training content, it should be evidence-based. It's actually real-life context-based, based on what's happening in the class. Challenges and limitations, time-consuming. You are doing it within their weekly meetings. Grabbing interest. It should be something that interests them, because they are involved in choosing also the topics. When you are doing the TNA, okay, the training needs analysis, they are part of the involvement in what are the topics that we need to talk about. Costly. I think it's very clear. This will not cost you anything. If you want to invest, you can invest in the trainer. Or if you have a very good teacher who is a good trainer, he or she can do a train the trainer session, to help them, give them the tips and advices of a good training. We are all teachers, yani. We are all in the domain already of teaching and training. Outdated content from trainers at a time, definitely it's not outdated, because what's happening, we're taking the content, the strategies, and we're implementing, reflecting, implementing, reflecting. Analysis of the needs, we talked about this, related to, did anyone write this? Related topic. They are choosing the topics. Time versus impact on trainers, definitely. We talked about time. It's in their monthly meetings, and your follow-up as a head of department or as a principal, you have a kind of a sense of what's going on with the track sheets and the forms. To be to the point, we are mainly focusing on strategies and things to implement in the class. So I really, really hope that you enjoyed this session, and it was helpful. If you have, So if you have any questions, or if you need any help in implementing the monthly focus, we took the emails. I will send you the PowerPoint, because my email is like ddib@educationdevelopmenttrust.com, so you don't have to do that. I'll send you the PowerPoint. If you need any help, any advice, anything, I am so passionate about it. I believe in it so much because I saw it, I saw how it works, and I'm willing to definitely support you in anything you need. Yes, it took the department from place to another. Thank you again. Enjoy your day. Thank you.